However, one morning, 2 months later, I suddenly heard a loud scream from her apartment that jolted me out of sleep. "Help me!" she continuously screamed. I was going to ignore it, but I just couldn't. I found myself running out of my apartment and going straight to hers. I met quite a crowd gathered there. I asked what happened, and someone explained that the lady had an abusive boyfriend who usually beat her up like that, and he was doing it again. I quickly rushed to her door, and with all my strength, I broke the door and walked in on her getting beaten up. I pulled the guy off her and threw him to the floor. I pounced on him and gave him a few punches. As I tried to help her up, she pushed me away.
"Don't you dare touch me with those filthy hands of yours."
I was taken aback. I just saved her. Before I knew it, a cop walked in. "What's going on here?" The lady, rather than tell the truth, told the cops that I'd suddenly broke into her house and attacked her and her boyfriend. I was shocked. I turned to the police and tried to explain that it was a lie, and I'd come in to save her, but he shut me up with a slap, shocking me even more. Hey there. My name's Frederick, and I'm black. Before relocating to the States, I'd heard stories about some racists, but I held onto the belief that I wouldn't be a victim if I was peaceful and easygoing. I relocated over 5 years ago and didn't encounter any racist until I moved into a new area. The former place I was at needed to be renovated, so I had to move. Unlike my previous place where I had quite a lot of fellow blacks there, the new place was mostly dominated by whites. I had a white neighbor who was unmarried. She had a friendly appearance, so I contemplated on speaking to her for quite a while before I eventually mustered courage to do so. The opportunity came when we both got out to empty our bin at the same time. I turned to her with a smile. "Hello? Is the day going well?" I started that way, as it was usually how I struck conversations with people. However, she cast a gaze that seemed to be one of disgust. Her facial expression seemed as though she'd just seen a rotten wound.
"Excuse me? How dare you ask me that? Are you planning to start stalking me or something?"
I was surprised. How did it get to that direction? Stalking? Never. I can't do that. I simply wanted to know if you're having a good day.
"I don't see how that's any of your business. Do you not know how to be quiet? Is that how you black people are? Trying to get into other people's businesses without permission?"
I stood in shock, unable to form any reasonable word. She was saying too much for a simple question. "I apologize if you think I'm trying to intrude into your privacy. However, that wasn't my intention in any way. I simply wanted to know if you're having a good day."
"Oh, please. If I say I'm having a good day, do you plan to make it a bad day for me? Huh? I've heard how troublesome y'all Africans are. Don't you dare bring that to me, else I'll report you to the cops. Got it, idiot?"
Idiot? Excuse me, you're being too disrespectful now. I already apologized for asking that question, since it seemed like it offended you, so you don't have to insult me.
Don't you deserve to be insulted? Y'all blacks are nothing but garbage bags. If you dare look in my direction again, I swear I'm gonna report you for stalking."
I watched as she turned and stormed off afterward. I was truly shocked. I just gotten my first taste of how it feels to be hated on by a white. It was so surprising because her words were completely uncalled for. I turned and headed back to my apartment, feeling so bad and embarrassed. I called a friend and told her about it, and she warned me against ever speaking to the lady. I wasn't even going to anymore, but it was just so surprising. The next day, on my way out to work, I bumped into the lady. She let out a shrill cry and moved away, cleaning her skin like she'd just been smeared with poo.
"How dare you touch me with your black skin?"
What? It's not like I intentionally bumped into you. Why are you being this way, miss?
"Yes, you knowingly bumped into me? What? You've never had the opportunity to touch a white before and you think I'm that person?"
My anger was boiling within me. What did she take me for? She was treating me so condescending, and it was getting on my nerves. However, I was running late for work, and also didn't want to argue with her that morning. For the sake of peace, I'm going to apologize. I'm sorry for bumping into you. I hope you have a good day. You'd have thought it ended there, but it didn't.
"What's with you and my day? Are you trying to get me to have a bad day? Huh? Is that common among you Africans?"
If you'll excuse me, I have to leave now.
"No, I'm going to go out first before you do. That's how it is. We whites must always be in front of you stupid blacks. Get lost, monkey."
Her words were so offensive, but I managed to keep my cool. I moved away to allow her pass without her skin having to touch mine, as I was against another round of insult. After she left, I walked out. On another day, one of the ladies in the neighborhood asked me to help watch over her child while she quickly got something at a nearby store. I agreed. While watching the little girl, I decided to engage her in a conversation. Then, my neighbor was walking by and saw us. She hurriedly grabbed the girl from me and began yelling for help. A policeman nearby rushed to us, and my neighbor lied that I was trying to kidnap the girl. I tried to explain to the man the real reason I was with the child, but my neighbor refused to allow me to speak and requested my arrest. Luckily, the child's mother arrived just in time and cleared the situation. The officer reprimanded my neighbor and warned her against such false accusations next time. 2 weeks passed, and I steadily avoided any interaction with her. Even when we had to empty our bins, I made sure she wasn't anywhere around before I did so. I was on a work break for 3 days, and on the second day, I decided to clean the whole surrounding. I got the equipment and set out to work. Now, by surrounding, it included my neighbor's area. I sincerely didn't want to clean it because I was still angry over what she did the last time, but it wouldn't look neat if I only did my part and left hers. I wasn't a wicked person. I knew she wouldn't appreciate it, so I did the cleaning without expecting any form of appreciation from her. Later that night, while cooking, I heard my doorbell ring. I wondered who it was because I wasn't expecting any friends. My thoughts went to my neighbor, and a small smile tugged at my lips, thinking she was coming to thank me. As I opened the door, I screamed as a full bucket of ice water was thrown on me. Cleaning my eyes, I was met by the death stare of my neighbor. "What's wrong with you, lady?"
How dare you? Did I ask you to clean my yard with your black tools? Huh? Did I beg you? By the way, one of my phones is missing. I just hope is not what I'm thinking.
"Excuse me, I didn't clean your yard. I simply cleaned the front, which is connected to mine. Also, I don't know anything about your phone. This is not nice."
Not nice? Cool. I dare you to ever try coming close to me again. The next time you cross my path, I'm going to the police. Dare me.
She stormed off after the threat, leaving me purely shocked. I was embarrassed, angry, surprised, and confused. Had I done something bad by cleaning a dirty place? After changing into fresh clothes and cleaning the ice and water that had kissed the floor, I returned to cooking. Over dinner, I was on a video call with my friend, telling him about what had happened with the lady. He blamed me for being too nice and told me to stay completely away from her. But the area was dirty. It would look somehow if I'd only cleaned my part and left hers.
It doesn't matter. Those kinds of people would rather have their surroundings filled with dirt than have a black person clean it up.
I learned my lesson for the third time. I made up my mind to never get involved with anything relating to her. The next time I clean Ed, it was only my part. I carefully avoided her part, even though I was tempted to clean the place, seeing how dirty it was. At night, I heard her doing the cleaning, and I was glad I didn't succumb to the temptation earlier. Life continued like that, with me ignoring her total existence, and her doing the same. However, one morning, 2 months later, I suddenly heard a loud scream from her apartment that jolted me out of sleep. "Help me!" she continuously screamed. I was going to ignore it, but I just couldn't. I found myself running out of my apartment and going straight to hers. I met quite a crowd gathered there. I asked what happened, and someone explained that the lady had an abusive boyfriend who usually beat her up like that, and he was doing it again. I quickly rushed to her door, and with all my strength, I broke the door and walked in on her getting beaten up. I pulled the guy off her and threw him to the floor. I pounced on him and gave him a few punches. As I tried to help her up, she pushed me away.
Don't you dare touch me with those filthy hands of yours.
I was taken aback. I'd just saved her. Before I knew it, a cop walked in.
What's going on here?
The lady, rather than tell the truth, told the cops that I'd suddenly broke into her house and attacked her and her boyfriend. I was shocked. I turned to the police and tried to explain that it was a lie, and I'd come in to save her, but he shut me up with a slap, shocking me even more.
You blacks are nothing but nuisances. I'm arresting you.
No matter how much I tried to oppose, he wasn't having any of it. He cuffed my hands and led me out of the apartment. My neighbor and her boyfriend followed him. The people around tried to explain to him, but he refused to listen to them. I was led to the station where my neighbor and her boyfriend gave false statements about the whole issue. The cop instantly locked me up and refused me to call anyone. I knew I was doomed, as I couldn't reach my friends, and I thought none of those present would step up for me. Every day, the cop would come in and torture me in the cell while calling me every vile name he could think of, ranging from ape to African monkey, etc. I spent a week there before another white cop helped me with a phone. According to him, he suspected I was taken unfairly, as he knew how much his colleague hated blacks. I explained what had happened to him, and he gave me his phone. I called my friends and asked for help. My friends swung into action immediately. They went to my neighborhood and found those who were present. Luckily, they weren't racists, and even accepted to stand as witnesses. My friends filed a case against the unjust cop, my neighbor, and her boyfriend. They were found guilty as charged after my other neighbors gave their statements. 2 had even recorded everything, which helped even more. The cop got 1 year imprisonment and had his badge and title stripped off of him for false imprisonment, violation of civil rights, and physical abuse for slapping me. My neighbor was guilty of a hate crime and a false report to authorities. She got a 2-year jail term and was made to pay a $5,000 fine to me. Her boyfriend was also jailed for physical abuse and got 5 years. Once all that was over, I thanked everyone who had helped me and got another apartment in my former neighborhood. It was peaceful there, and I needed peace. Even though the few whites there weren't racist, the trauma from my neighbor made me stay away from them. Meanwhile, barely 1 year later, I heard my neighbor harassed 3 black prisoners by taking their food and forcing them to bow to her. She was caught and got transferred to a higher prison, where she got 6 extra months. This might sound evil, but I do want her to get more jail term and spend over half of her life there. Perhaps she'd learn her lesson that way. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.